Today's episode is sponsored by Dynasty Athletic Performance and NC Football Connections.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the All Season 365 podcast. Be sure to follow us on X, Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube and Spotify channels. Today, we have a special guest from the West Coast, Coach Marcelino, Roque, running back coach, head flag coach at American High School, and the head 10, 12U coach for Fremont Football Little League. Coach, how are you today?
I'm doing good. How about yourself today, Coach?
Man, I'm well, man. I appreciate you for making time to hop on. Me and Coach, we're on two different time zones. I'm
Man,
on the East Coast, he's on the West Coast, man. And what's the temperature again over there right now?
it's 85 degrees out here, and according to the app, it's a heat advisory.
It's a heat advisory, and it's funny because on this side over here, we getting a lot of rain, a lot of wind. So here on the East Coast, we won't see that weather until maybe three weeks from now. So yeah, man. Well, definitely be wise and make sure you hydrate.
Man, most definitely. I mean, I'm drinking a soda, but I've had my water today.
For sure, man. Well, before we get into today's topic, we're going to be touching on running back play, flag football, little league football. Give our listeners a quick snapshot of your journey up until this point.
Yeah, my name is Marcelino, but everybody knows me as Coach Lino. My coaching journey kind of started when I got hurt when around, I want to say 14 years old. I decided to become a junior coach at 15, 16. It was the Fremont Falcons and the Fremont Broncos. And then it was, this is all back when the Little League was just one league before they became a travel team.
Mm.
And then I followed my brother to the Tri-City Kings before they changed ownership. And then I took a few years off, tried to get back in the game myself as a player. Went to Los Medanos Junior College, try to try to make something happen over there. But my knee injury was too bad. And then my mom worked at Washington High School, and, they had a coach step down, and I had my foot in the door, became the JV running back coach there. And then thanks to Coach Ruben. Actually, Coach Ruben was just on the podcast. He reached out to me that following off season, and next thing I know, I'm getting interviewed, and I'm the American running back coach, which, Rue's a great guy. He was a great mentor to me for sure, so thankful for that.
Yeah, definitely, man. And Coach Rue, he was on our show, and he's doing great things as well. So if you haven't listened to the episode, make sure you listen to the episode. He does a good job of talking about junior college and high school recruiting, and a lot of the pitfalls that not only coaches run into, but athletes as well. So make sure that you check that episode out whenever you get a moment. For sure. So appreciate you for giving them a shout out. Man, let's go ahead and get to it. Let's touch on this running back play. My personal opinion, in order for an offense to run efficiently, you need a running back that can help take pressure off the quarterback. That's high school, junior college, little league, college, pro. That's just what it is. So my question for you is, what key fundamentals do you emphasize to help high school running backs improve their vision and decision making?
The decision making all kind of starts with drills. To
Mm-hmm.
me, I always tell the guys first things first. Don't take off without the football.
Mm.
I still have that problem to this day where guys they got a fumbling problem. So
Oh man.
out here, the school I coach at in a small city like Fremont, we get a lot of first year kids. So it's not just division, it's more of teaching kids how to play the position from the ground up, from scratch.
Mm.
Um, but with that, I kind of set up the bags, and then I set up a little fake offensive line, and then I
Mm-hmm.
kind of just get their feet in front of them, teach them the holes. Surprisingly, in high school, you got to teach a lot of them
Yes, you do.
because during the COVID year, you had the concussion problems going on. Parents were
Mm-hmm.
scared to have their kids play football,
Yep.
so we
Mm-hmm.
got late bloomers. Luckily, this past season, I had two great running backs in Jordan Garcia and Jaden Martinez.
Mm-hmm.
One of the best duos I've ever had. If you ever get a chance to go on Huddle and check those two guys out, they're amazing in their own ways. Two different style backs, but both physical runners, fast in their own way. But with two leaders like that, they made my job easy this past season.
Mm-hmm.
So with the vision and IQ, it's just I stand there with a bag on the other end, and
Yeah, there you
I'm
go.
sitting there, I'm beating on them and hitting them with the pad, and just because running back a lot of you got to be physical. You're taking a lot of damage. You're basically a smaller tight end in a way,
Yes, you are.
and
Yes, you are.
you got to take on blocks. You got to be a key blocker. You can't just run. You want to run the ball, you got to earn your reps. You got to be able to pass block. You got to
Yep.
play a little fullback, run block. It all starts, with, to me, I believe in the weight room
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
your body has to be ready for that when we hit the field. I make kids throw up all the time. I make kids like, Coach, I don't want to play this position no more.
Mm.
Because I play running back myself. I've been pushed to my limit where, I've even had those thoughts like this position's too
Yeah, oh
physical.
yeah. It is physical.
I'd rather go play defense and, get hit a million times. I'd rather do the hitting. But
yeah. Well, you brought up a lot of great points. First thing you talked about the importance of ball security. The reality is this, and if there's any young backs that's listening and they're going to tune in, the reality is if you can't protect the football, you can't help your offense out. The perfect analogy that my college coach would share with all of us ball carriers to add on what you just said is this. Just imagine that the whole team is giving you their money, right? Everybody's
yeah,
giving you their money. If you lose that money, well, you have to explain that, So make sure that you know at all costs that you protect the football. You also brought up a good point about using the bags. Well, here's the deal: to teach backs how to anticipate blocking, like you said, right? You have your
yeah,
backs running towards you, right? You move the bag, and it's on them to make that adjustment in real time. And
yeah,
then last but not least, you also brought up another good point about depth at the position. Well, it's hard to carry an offense with one back. It is hard.
yeah,
So
most definitely.
you need a pair and a spare, right? You need a pair and a spare. So it's a physical position. So the goal is to keep them fresh, like you said, but that's just what it is when you play that position. So
I've been a part of teams where I've had the help, and then I've been a part of teams where I was the only back that could go the whole game because
man,
nobody else could deal with the physicality of it.
yeah, man, and that's
And
between the tackle, off the edge, and everything.
you got to be able to outrun the defense to the edge. You got to be able to hit that hole. And
Absolutely.
a lot of guys that show up day one think, "Oh, I'm gonna play running back." It looks easy. It's man, the stuff behind the scenes is not easy to get to where you got to be, man. You know,
Yeah,
so
you brought up a good point on that, and you also talked about pass protection, and that brought me to my next question. So, how do you develop running backs to be effective in um, both the run game? We touched on that, but most importantly, the pass protection. Like, how do you teach that?
for pass protection, I kind of set up this drill where I put, not every running back can play offensive tackle, but whoever's, I kind of set a rotation. So there's a defensive end, I'll set up a tackle, and then I'll play QB, and I'll just hand the ball off to the running back, and then they kind of just, what I do is I let the tackle, I just tell the tackle, well, I don't even hand it, I kind of just fake it off to the running back,
Mm-hmm,
and I
mm-hmm,
kind of just let the tackle get beat, and I kind of just teach the running back how to read inside out. And then so
yes, that's it.
eventually I add a guard in there, and then I start telling the running backs, whoever's playing line from my look, just get beat on this. I'll stand behind my running back and I'll be like, oh, you let him in, or you let him in. I teach him inside
Mm-hmm.
out, teach him how
That's
to
it.
break down, get low without having to be that running back that gets intimidated and just drops down and takes out their legs and gets us flagged.
There you go.
So teach them how to get physical, get in their hands in there.
Hands
You wanna
inside,
you
tight
wanna
head.
touch the ball, you better get in there and be just as physical, man. Your
Well, well,
line,
well,
your
Well,
line get
well,
tired.
well, well. Also with these linebackers, because you brought up another good point. The reality is these linebackers are so athletic, and if your back is dropping too soon, trying to cut, these linebackers are going to jump right over them and get in on your quarterback. You
Yeah,
also talked about the importance of protecting inside out, because from a quarterback's lens. The quarterbacks can handle the pressure off the edge, but what they don't like is that pressure up the middle. And if your back is not protecting the inside out, Nothing's good going to come out of that whole situation.
Yeah, because I see other running backs, this past season when we've gone against, just standing there watching our defense work. I've seen running backs read outside in, and I'm like,
Oh man,
that's why
yeah,
your quarterback's getting beat by our defense five
yeah,
times. Even if it's not
yeah,
a sack, and our that defensive tackle, he may not be getting a sack, but those hits add up on that quarterback. He's not
yes
getting
they
hit
do.
in practice. He's not getting hit in a lot of these drills.
Mm-mm,
His body's
mm-mm,
not built for that type of work.
no,
Which
mm,
thankfully our quarterback this past season, shout out Marvin, he he basically he took a beating a few times this past season. And he
mm,
kept getting up and up and up, and no matter what,
mm,
there was one time he came off, and that was when we played a Royal.
mm-hmm.
Our youngster Jackson came in. He held his own, and made varsity look easy. But he has a great system in front of him. With Coach Ruben running the offense this past season, Marvin being the leader he is at the quarterback position. You know, so I feel like our senior class that's leaving from this past season, they all they left us in good hands with our juniors.
Mm.
Everybody counting us out because we're a sophomore and junior based varsity team this upcoming season, but. I wouldn't count us out too yet if anybody from my area is watching this.
Well, now you know the old saying goes, man. Tradition never graduates, and what it sounds to me like, the older players have done a good job of passing on that expectation. So, it's going to take maybe a few scrimmages to, for the younger players to like step up. But at the end of the day, man, when the lights are on, I'm confident that those guys are going to step up and make their plays when their numbers called. So. But flag. Let's touch on flag football because you're very involved with flag football as well. And again, congratulations on being the head coach. Flag football is taking America by storm. That's just what it is on
Yeah,
all levels. It's a big deal on the East Coast, man. So my
yeah.
question is, for flag football, my question is, what offensive and defensive strategies do you emphasize to help your team succeed in flag football? Because it is a little bit different.
Well, for flag, I turned down the high school coaching job because I
Mhm,
wanted to stick to focus on the contact aspect when it comes to high school.
mhm,
But the little league, my first year as a head coach. To me, what I brought in was a little bit of Coach Ruben's system mixed with a little bit
mhm,
of me as I'm learning that I've liked. I took in some stuff Coach Ruben ran in sevens for American this past year.
mhm.
With him being my mentor, of course, it's kind of like McVay and Shanahan, similar offenses.
Uh,
So to me, in a way, I'm kind of like running a similar system to him.
mhm,
But with that, it's more of spreading the field and flag.
mhm,
Um, and to me, I like everybody's like, oh, just throw it up to your best guy.
mhm.
And I did that first game thinking, listening to everybody else. It didn't work. And then the second game, I played a team that grew up together, since they were
Yeah, we got
kids,
that
and
chemistry. Yeah, got that chemistry.
so they beat up on us because I'm the only co-ed team in the division.
Mm,
So with that, it's a lot of learning experience. I got a bunch of cheerleaders. They're all amazing football players. They caught on
right,
to it like that.
right.
Unfortunately, we're 0-2, in
Mhm,
this bye week this week. But we're gonna get it together. I truly believe it. But with the offense, I kind of spread it out, and I mix in runs, counters,
mm.
because if you don't have a quarterback or a running back that can run,
Yeah,
you can't set up your wheel route because the wheel route is
yep.
the killer in flag.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
what I hear. That's what I hear. My buddy was talking about that the other day. I'm like, really? The wheel route? They said, yeah.
because me, I run a lot of doubles. I don't run trips because for some reason everybody runs that and it's easy to stop and flag.
Yeah,
But when you
yeah,
bring out
yeah.
doubles, all of a sudden you could split
Whole
those
field.
safeties.
Hmm.
So I kind of originally was supposed to be a center and a guard. Every flag rules are different. Ours
Hmm.
is one center, a quarterback, running back, three receivers. It's 7-on-7. But me,
Hmm.
everybody likes to run that two high, three linebackers and just
Yeah.
man their corners.
Hmm.
So me, I was just like, okay, you want to man your corners and let your safeties do whatever they feel like. This is 10 to 12 U. Those
Hmm.
safeties aren't as disciplined as you would hope for the high school, upper levels. And me, I
Hmm.
played flag myself, so
Hmm.
we're seeing it. I mean, this past team we just played, the safeties were pretty disciplined. I give them that, well coached team.
Hmm. Hmm.
I mean, that's what you expect from a team that's been with this coach since they were youngsters. Since
Hmm.
they were like 5, 6 years old.
Hmm.
But you know, offensively, I just started getting defenses to come down, respect my run, and then I just sneak the wheel out, There's that post corner concept the Seahawks have ran, the Chiefs have
Yeah,
ran.
that's tough. That's tough to cover too.
Uh, Surprisingly, I covered it pretty well, but on defensively, I kind of stole everybody else's defense.
Hmm.
Because I'm not a defensive guy.
Right,
Brought in a
right.
defensive coach.
Hmm.
He's been huge help. He's the reason why these teams ain't blowing me out right now, or the reason why I ain't got to keep up with everybody. 50 to 50 the whole game.
I know that's right, man. And for those who have questions about flag football, man, make sure that you go to YouTube and reach out to flag coaches. Like I said, man, it's a big deal. Over here on the East Coast, we have a few colleges that are recruiting, a lot of females to play it, and the male flag league is also taking off, man. So great points there. Let's transition to this youth league football. It's a big deal. It's a big deal over here, and it sounds to me like it's a big deal over there. What fundamentals are most important to teach players at the 10, 12U level to help them develop for the future?
What I was teaching when I was in developing guys at that level was,
Hmm.
getting their feet under them. A lot of these kids, they don't even know how to run properly. So
Hmm.
to me, the fundamentals is just, yes, you're teaching them the basic game of football, but get these kids feet under them, teach them the ladder, cone drills,
Hmm.
anything you can to help them, have 2 feet under them because
Yeah.
I see kids with potential that never get to where they need to be at the high school level because they weren't taught the basics in little league. And now you're
That's it.
stuck backtracking. So I always try what I look for because technically we're not allowed to recruit kids
Right.
from the little league. But when I go watch, I still like to go give my 2 cents to these
Yeah.
coaches when I can
Yeah.
because I'm a product from either playing or coaching to somebody. So I come by and check in and I'll teach
Mhm.
somebody little running backs or whoever's the next big thing, whether they're going to a different school or they're coming to American. I
Mm.
kind of just, I go to these little leagues and I teach them. I bring out my own ladder sometimes. If you want to work out, if you want to work out, I'll put it, 10, 15 minutes of my time and I'll show you. Because I'm the coach where I'll put my cleats on and I'm hands on with you. I'm going to teach you
uh,
straight up
Show
because
you how
I
it's
had a
done.
coach that was out of shape. And, when I got to college, he was out of shape, didn't know what he was doing. And he was just trying to teach us drills. And I was like, I don't understand what you're trying to tell me right now. So that I'd be just like, you know what? I don't want to be that guy.
Right.
So, I kind of try to stay in shape the best I can. And
Yeah.
now I'm showing drills how to jump cut, how to, do certain ladder drills. Them kids got me feeling like I'm preparing for a season sometimes. But,
I know that. I know that's right.
so with little league kids, I just try to make sure, I tell coaches, make sure these kids is feet under them because when they get to high school,
Oh yeah.
this I got a few kids that are gonna be freshmen this upcoming year that can't join us until the summer texting me, Coach, can I as a freshman, can I be on varsity? I'm like, dude, I don't even know
Mm.
if your feet are under you yet, dude. The varsity, you gotta because a lot of kids don't realize coming into high school, oh, I was a superstar in little league. I'm gonna be a superstar in high school as a freshman. It's not the movies.
Man,
Kids start
man,
studying.
man. There's levels to this, man. There's levels to this.
So I tell I just my point is just get your feet under you. Learn if in high school and little league they're gonna play you every position.
Hmm.
Find your one you're comfortable at that you like. Focus on that craft. That when you get to high school, you know what you are. And if you just so happen to bulk up randomly and you become a lineman, you become a lineman,
Mm.
or you become a tight end. But
Hmm.
if you want to play running back, you got to be on that diet. You got to be on a specific routine where you don't get too fat, so you're not too
Yeah.
slow, or you slim
Mm.
down and you can't take a whole season worth of punishment.
Mm.
Um, like I tell guys, like you want to be great, I need you to have Le'Veon Bell patience.
Mm.
A lot of people don't even know who Le'Veon Bell is in this day.
I do. He was
But
special. Now that patience was top notch. The closest comparison to him is your running back that has won the Super Bowl MVP for the Seahawks. He
Kenneth
was
Walker.
very he was very patient. In the Super Bowl, like he was literally
I was saying the same thing.
walking, walking, and then as soon as that hole opened up, he knifed
Yeah, I'm
through
a
it.
Niner fan, so seeing that hurt me. But
Yeah.
I love the position running back. So to me, seeing a running back take over games like that, being patient is another thing, I teach my running backs as well. You got to be patient because if you try to just
Yeah.
hit it, you're gonna run into a
You're
brick
gonna,
wall if you don't let it
yeah.
develop.
Yeah,
But
run it over
yeah,
linemen. They gonna get upset with you. Well, he also he learned that at Wake Forest. Like he played at Wake Forest over here in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. They had like the slow mesh, and the backs and quarterbacks would literally walk right when they mesh, and then the quarterback will snatch the ball and throw it, or he'll hand it off. Like so he learned a lot of that patient stuff from that system, and we got a chance to see that as well. So. But before we let you go, Coach, question for you before we let you go:
of
what
course.
advice would you give an assistant coach who is looking to climb the coaching ladder?
Um, just stay patient. You gotta soak up the game. Like a sponge. Me, I walked into American thinking I knew a lot about running backs, and I got with Coach Drew, and I sat down with him, and he broke me down his offense, his game plan, and I realized
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing that I was told by Coach Ruben that I could actually say works is read books.
That's it.
Definitely. He
That's it.
mentioned to me reading books because if you have goals to be an offensive coordinator,
Mm-hmm.
defensive coordinator, or an
Yeah,
elite position coach, head coach, whatever, or
gotta
even
think like one.
or even want to become a general manager and buy an NFL team one day if you get to that
Mm-hmm.
point. You got to be able to know the game in and out. You got to teach every position on the field. You got to know every position inside and out. And if you
Mm-hmm.
can't do that, how you gonna lead an offense? How you gonna lead a defense?
So
So
true.
I'm still learning the running back position. So I thought it was just carrying the ball in a few drills. I thought since I was nice at it, I could just do it. And then next thing I know, I'm watching YouTube videos. I'm learning things
Hmm.
from Coach Ruben. He got me reading books off my computer, off my phone, and now I'm just I'm soaking up the game. Just got to sit back and wait your turn. I'm 25. I have my moments where I'm impatient and I'm like, I just want to be a head coach. I just want to be a play caller.
It'll come, man. It'll
you
come,
know,
and I'm heading on like year 16, man. And it seemed like yesterday it was year one. But I'll tell you this, and you're gonna sound to me like you're gonna be in coaching for quite some time. But as long as you coach it, man, you there's always something new to learn. I've been coaching for quite some time, man. I don't have all the answers, So
yeah,
like you just mentioned, surround yourself with the right people. You use your network, right? Use your social media. There's a lot of coaches out here that's willing to assist and help. Watch videos. And go to clinics. Ask questions. That's something I sit in the front. I ask questions all the time. If I'm unsure, then I'm gonna ask a question. But there's always a more efficient way to teach, especially to our kids, man. So
yeah. I'd rather
sounding to
be
me
that
like,
annoying coach and ask all the questions than
man,
not be able to go back
that's
and teach
cool.
my kids something.
That's cool though. That's normal though. That's normal.
Yeah, because
Absolutely,
kids
man.
they got a million questions, and if you don't got an answer to one of them, they're gonna be like,
There you
"Coach don't
go.
know what he's talking about." He's like, "I just didn't
That
know
part.
one thing."
That
But
part right there.
last season I ran into a few of those questions where I was like, "Oh man," and I have to be like, "Go ask Coach Ruben," or go ask one of the coaches. And so this off season, I really focused on perfecting the running back position the best I could to be able to demonstrate drills, be able to explain it, and be fully
Hmm.
100% more confident. So this year,
Hmm.
you know, being not having superstars that can just carry the workload. We still have great backs in the American roster. But to have to reteach these kids, because we got kids with potential to be game changers in their own way. So I had to go to the drawing board so I could help these kids who are now different style runners from the two we just had.
Hmm.
Now I got a speedster. Now I got a person who's got IQ who's really going to sit there and take his time before he
There
makes
you
his
go.
decision.
There you go.
Last year I mentioned I had Jordan Garcia, a speedster, but he ain't afraid to throw you on the ground. He'll run
Hmm.
through you. Jaden was a pure power back, but if he seen daylight, he was sneaky fast. He was like
Mm.
kind of like Kareem Hunt, where
Right.
he'll break you, but he'll sneaky fast. He had a beast quake moment. Jordan had a moment where he was just what was this? I forget the speedy running back's name.
I mean,
I forget.
there's a lot of them, man, that
Yeah,
come
there's
to
a lot
mind to
of, but
me, man. I mean, I
he
think
reminded me of
Ward,
Chris
Dunn, all
Johnson.
them boys.
Remind me of Chris Johnson.
Oh yeah, yeah,
The
Chris
point
Johnson, yeah,
holder. Where he's seeing green, you're not touching him, which is, those two guys are special. Those are two guys that are physical runners. This upcoming year, I'm not going to have those physical runners. I got guys that might get hot down, but, I got guys that are going to give you the yardage that you need. It's going to get the job done. So I'm going to be working on making sure those guys, one of them's going to be a senior, and the rest of them are all about to be juniors. So my job is to get this senior 100% ready to go and make sure he's playing at a college level his senior year. That way, if he chooses to play college ball, they're like, this kid Kainoa could really play. And we want you to come run the ball for us after you take your shirt year. So, got my hands full, but I believe in my guys 100%. The same way they believe in me to guide them.
Well, you'll definitely be ready, man. You sound motivated. You sound hungry, and this upcoming season is going to be a special one because I know for a fact that you're going to put the necessary work in to help your guys set the next level. So kudos to you for that.
I'm already looking at more ways to think,
absolutely.
I'm sending these guys drills on Instagram like, hey, I can't physically do field work with you yet because I can get in trouble with the districts and stuff. But here, here's some drills. You can do this at home. If you got cones, if you don't even got cones, grab your backpack. I know you brought a sweater to school. Set it up as a cone. Just do some drills.
That footwork, man. Never go out of date.
Kainoa is a beast in the weight room. He's been really attacking it. He's been a leader. He's stepped up a lot. I'm proud of this kid, and I'm excited what he brings this senior year.
Well, I'm definitely going to be tracking you guys this season. I'm excited hearing about it. And for those who's listening, make sure that you check Coach out. He's very passionate about what he do. If you guys have any resources for him, get it to him so he can experiment with his guys. Definitely,
for sure.
man. So,
absolutely. I'm Coach Lino 510 on Twitter and Instagram.
There you go. So give Coach a follow, man. Well, thanks for listening to the All Season 365 podcast. I'm Coach Simmons here with Coach Lino. I'm on the East Coast. He's on the West Coast. We signing off.
All right, we're good.
Today's episode is sponsored by Dynasty Athletic Performance and NC Football Connections.